Hey guys, what's up? Excoundrel here, and welcome to my round 2 attempt of the Flashx challenge, which a lot of people asking me what the Flashx challenge was. I literally said it right at the start of the last video, so I'll say it again though. It's basically attempting to do 5v5 and end the game as quickly as possible, so trying to get a very quick win on the 5v5 map. The reason I'm doing this again is simply because I saw DnZIO, another North American pro player, do a strategy in the side lane with Saw. And I was in split minds about the side lane versus the mid lane. I thought that you would need Blacklaw to push in the game, but against very hard bots, they have the tendency to literally run it down mid, and that makes your minion waves basically get distracted, or they end up killing your minion waves, or they end up clearing the waves, and that also makes it harder for you to siege onto turrets. The side lanes, however, they have a lot more control over how you stack minion waves. Because of the short lane in the mid lane, it means that it's very difficult to properly stack minion waves. You can really only achieve this in the side lane because of how long it takes the minions to get there. And you'll see I do it kind of early on in this lane. I don't do it perfectly, and like I said as a preface to this video, this can definitely be done quicker, and I fully expect it to get done quicker. Really the core points of the Flashx challenge are understanding how to manipulate the minion wave to make it so that you have the most time attacking the turret possible, but also understanding when you need to back. There are obviously the mechanics of Saw involved as well, because stutter stepping does increase his attack speed slightly, which I'm not particularly brilliant at because I'm a captain main, but I tried my best. So I think, you know, a very, very highly skilled player who's got a good understanding of when they should be backing and also how to control minion waves should be able to do this a lot quicker than I actually ended up doing it. As you can see here, I basically didn't attack this minion down super quickly. I wanted to basically allow it to bounce just before the enemy turret, and then that allows me to build up essentially 1.5 minion waves worth of minions, and then that allows me to get extra time onto this first turret. Now, I'm not going to get a huge amount of damage done now because I'm literally just sitting on 2 weapon blades, but any damage that I can get down now is going to help me later on as the game progresses. So as you can see, my primary aim here was just to stack that minion wave at the start very quickly, just 1.5 minion waves worth of minions, and that, well, you can see I already got a pretty significant amount of damage onto the turret. Now, you may ask why I clear the minion waves sometimes instead of focusing the minions. It's because I want to essentially provide my minions with no obstacles as we head back towards the turret. Now, I definitely think I'm potentially optimizing this wrong, but I essentially started to clear the minion wave there just to give me more time directly on the turret. As you can see, you know, we're 2 minutes 30 into the game, and I've almost taken out that first turret. What I'm going to do here is something that you probably saw quite frequently on my previous video, which was just using suppressing fire to try and, obviously you want to get the maximum stacks, but also you kind of want to allow it so that you can kill the minion wave just before your minion wave bounces into their turret. You want to try and keep yourself in a sweet spot where your minions are not going to take damage, but you're also essentially keeping your minion wave just on the outside of the turret to reduce the time that the minion wave has to travel before you get onto that first turret. And you can see, having just, I think it was just about 3 or 4 minion waves, I ended up getting the first turret of the game. And with the captain minion still available and alive, that means I can start to clear minion waves and allow my next wave to push up as well, because I'm going to start to push onto this tier 2 turret. Now, I talked about back timings. Something that I struggled with quite heavily in deciding this game is, do I back just once this game, hit a big item spike like a Sorrow Blade and try and end the game off that? Or should I back several times, but maybe use the jungle shop or use the shop at home? The sort of decision that you have to make in your head about this particular instance is that, would your item spike that you are basically traveling across the map to attain, would that save you more time taking down the turrets than it would have done for you to travel across the map? And I think my theory is that when you are dealing with such short spaces of time, I mean, we're talking about a sub 10-minute game ending here, and when it will take me, what, 30 to 45 seconds to travel across the map? If I end up with just a Sorrow Blade, no other item spike is going to help me take the turrets more readily than I would have done with just a Sorrow Blade. So I could pick up any item next, and it still wouldn't save me 45 seconds worth of time taking down the turrets. So this is the only item that I buy this entire game, and I think that back there, if I remember correctly, as you can't see it because of the overlay, that back there was simply for a Sorrow Blade. I clear out the minions in the jungle here. It's mainly because you know, I am going to think to myself, maybe I want to go and buy something later on. I hadn't really made the decision at this point, but the primary aim here is just going for the weapon power buff. And as the minion wave hadn't bounced back to my side yet, I'm quite happy clearing out the jungle regardless. So this is just giving me the option that I could go to the jungle shop. I'm going to start to stack up gold, and I wanted the minion wave to bounce back towards the middle of the lane anyway, because that allows me to stack up a minion wave a little bit easier. And you can see, because I've got the captain minion in tow now as well, if I clear out their captain minion, I should be able to generate a pretty decent size wave. Koshka actually helped me out here by dragging their minion wave back, because that means that my minions take less damage. And you can see here, I've actually generated a very large minion wave, with the help of Koshka, of course, just to go on towards this tier 2 turret. And like I said, I've got the Soroblade spike now. Now, the jungle shops have now just about to come online. I think it's about 5 minutes 30. So I have got, well, I've got about 1,000 gold, if you can see on the screen. I could go and buy probably another heavy steel, but I would have to run to the jungle shop. Now, I think actually in this situation, I was pretty close to the jungle shop. I probably could have just gone and got a heavy steel and used a roadie run to get back into the lane. That probably would have allowed me to cut some time off, but I made a decision just to keep pushing, especially because Taka for some reason was here as well, as was Koshka, and I didn't really want to mess up the fact that I had 2 bots just kind of helping me out. I also had a captain minion wave to work with, and like I said, would 20 seconds of going to the shop and purchasing a heavy steel and getting back to the lane have been worth it in terms of saving 20 seconds on killing these turrets? I think on hindsight, maybe it would have been very close, if not better, to go for the heavy steel there. But realistically, I thought that I'd be able to end the game pretty easily off the back of the Soroblade. Vox actually, again, he steals my CS, but that's not really the end of the world. He actually helps me by pulling the minion wave to the side here, because again, like you can see, that allowed my minion wave to walk straight to the turret, and they have nothing stopping them, and that allows me to get more damage onto this turret. So from this point forward, my goal is just essentially try and work with minion waves, use that spun up saw with the Soroblade, and just essentially try and end the game outright using the side lane. It's crazy that you can do this quicker than you can do with Blacklaw, but with Blacklaw spawning at 7 minutes 30, you are kind of limited to how quickly Blacklaw can push down the lane, and due to the fact that bots, as you can see, love mid lane for some reason. I actually have Taka here, and again, having bots help you out in these scenarios is actually really good, because the bots can tank both the direct line shots from the Vein Crystal, and also they help me take the armory here. So somehow I've ended up with 2 bots helping me in the side lane, and again, that's why I didn't want to go towards the jungle shop, just simply because I was very lucky to have Koshka and Taka end up in my lane. I don't know how much of an impact they've had, but realistically, if they just tank a couple of shots from me from the Vein Crystal, and they help me get a bit of extra damage down onto the armories, that's fantastic. At this point now, this is the very risky part of the fight, because essentially, or rather of the match, because I essentially now have to take down the Vein Crystal as quickly as possible while trying to dodge out the skill shots and trying to not take as much damage. Also, you can see I kind of messed up a lot of stutter stepping. I was trying to basically increase my attack speed, but I'm not the best at it, unfortunately. And so I probably could have maybe taken this down maybe 5 to 10 seconds quicker if I'd not been so bad at the game. And as it stands now, it's basically a race between me tanking the Vein Crystal Halcyon missiles, and also my minion waves doing the tanking for me. I do have the armory buffed minion wave coming through here, and this will give me enough time to push on. I'll get spun up, and I'll just essentially just try and deal as much damage as physically possible. But as you can see, a lot of this kind of all started from manipulating the minion waves very early on into the game to give myself 1.5 to 2 minions waves worth of minions to then push onto the turrets. And I literally only used 1 item spike, because I thought that I would save more time by just straight up pushing with that item spike than I would have gained by getting another item spike on top. And you can see, I think that ends at 8:40. So I killed the Vein Crystal at 8:40, but obviously the tooltip time will be very different. But yeah, I think that was probably the quickest we've had so far. I definitely think that it can be improved upon. Absolutely. And 8 minutes 50. There you go. So 8 minutes 50 was the time there. I did get told I would never beat it, but I did manage to do that today just on my first attempt, which I thought was good, and I thought I'd talk about the decisions that I made, and also shows you how to manipulate minion waves in the side lane very slightly as well. So it is very possible to potentially do this in 8 minutes. I think maybe there is a real possibility that a pro player who's mechanically better at the game than I am could potentially do this in 8 minutes to 8 minutes 30, and that would be very, very impressive. So again, Flashx challenge is really good fun, and it helps me really understand the Vainglory 5v5 map, and hopefully you guys learn a little bit from it too. Cheers.